Good evening, good evening. I hope you all can hear me. So, it's May the 4th, folks, so live long and prosper. May the 4th be with you and everybody else. Okay, so I thought it's a nice clear night, and it's not going to get overly dark for another hour or so, so I thought we'll put the moon up in the sky. I'll crack out the Newtonian. It's a 1030 PDS scope. I thought we can have a little look at the moon, so it's all ready to go. Hope you're all well. Please say hello in the chat if you're about. Tell me where you're from. As you can see on the screen, we have a nice view there. Here at the top we have the Sea of Serenity, and down below, right in the middle, we have the Sea of Tranquility. And obviously the Sea of Tranquility is where Apollo 11 landed. I'm not saying we're going to see anything, but also down to where Apollo 11 actually landed. Zoom in a bit there. Okay, so if you look here, that is roughly the area where the Eagle landed in 1969, and a lot of people say, but why can't we see the lunar capsule, the lander with a telescope? Well, the lander itself is about the size of a minifan, and of course the moon is a quarter of the size of Earth, so it's no wonder that you can't see it. Now, I think the Indian lunar orbiter has recently taken some shots of a couple of the Apollo landing sites, so you can check that out if I can find them online in the meantime. I'll certainly pop them up, but yeah, you can't actually see it if you have an orbiter in orbit around the moon. You're never going to see, well, certainly not with a home telescope. I think you use a powerful telescope. You're going to see basically a large car on the surface of the moon, but that's Apollo 11. It's the landing site in the Sea of Tranquility. Okay, not audible. Can anybody? Okay. Let me see what's going on here. Give me a second. No audible. Anybody hear me? Should be working. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Okay, I'm not sure why. Okay, give me just 1 second. Hello. Is that any better? Hello, I cannot hear anything. Darn it. Let me see if I can try and find what the issue is here. Hello. Hello. Is that any better? Can anybody hear me?
So kicks.
Hello?
Hello. Hello. Is that anybody?
I think we may have life. No one? Okay, can anybody hear me now? Hello? It should be working. Is there anybody there?
No one? Okay, can anybody hear me now? Hello.
No, well, at least YouTube's not censoring me. My free speech is probably I've just put the microphone into the wrong socket, I think. So, as I started out, may the 4th be with you, people. Always good to see. May the 4th be with you, and with you. Okay, we're going to crack on. As I was saying before, I rudely interrupted myself. This is our live view. We have a 130 PDS Newtonian telescopes stuck out the back. Attached is a ZW camera running to our PC, blah blah blah. And we have a nice crisp view of the moon. It's almost 50% illuminated tonight. And if you look here, in between, see those two craters and that little crater there? If you just look somewhere in between, that is the landing site of Apollo 11. Now, a lot of people say, well, why can't you see Apollo 11 with a telescope? Remember, the lunar lander is about the size of a minifan, a people carrier. And the moon is a quarter of the size of Earth. So there's no way, unless you have a very, 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 very big telescope, you're going to have any chance of seeing that type of detail from Earth. So you can rule that out. Now, the Indian lunar orbiter has actually taken photographs of, certainly of Apollo 11, maybe Apollo 12 as well. So if you get your backside into gear and do some Googling, you can actually have a look at that. So as you can see, we're looking at right in front of us, that is the Sea of Tranquility. Up above it is the Sea of Serenity. Now we're going to look a little just around that area and have a nosy. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit here. Give me a second. Oh, I haven't zoomed in, so that makes it easier. Okay, so I thought if we take a look here, just about here, and see what's going on. And there, it's quite an interesting crater. Does anybody know where this is? And if you're British, yes, it is the moon. And if you're British, I'll give you a clue. Infamy, infamy. They've all got it, infamy. That is the name of the crater. And if you don't know what infamy, they've all got it, infamy relates to, and then you've led a sheltered and indeed an impoverished life. Okay, it's actually the name of the crater there. Right there. It's called Julius Caesar. And then just bring up a couple of little facts about Julius Caesar with the help of Mr. Chat GDP. He's taking his time tonight. Hope you have clear skies where you are. You get a good view of the moon. It was quite good tonight. And the good thing is, it is rising quite early. I think it's late morning, early afternoon. It begins to rise at the moment. Okay, here we go. Yay! So, Julius, this is because I know everything. Julius Caesar crater. It has a diameter of 85 kilometers. Now, that's about the width of Wales, not Wales as in Wales in the ocean, but the country Wales. And if you don't know where the country Wales is, you do need to get yourself sorted. So Wales, which is to the west of England, that type of Wales. So that's the size of the crater. It has a depth from rim to floor of 3.4 kilometers. And even at low sun, the floor never goes completely dark. So there you go. Okay. So this is what Mr. Chat GDP is telling us about it. It has battered ramparts. The once crisp rim, so mature, is eroded, notched by later impacts and debris from the giant Imbrium basin blast of 3.9 billion years ago. Now, parts of the wall only rise a few hundred meters, giving the crater an irregular outline. It has a two-tone floor. The southwest half is brighter, while the northeast half looks duskier, and the dark patch is thought to be a blanket of Imbrium ejecta, or glass-rich volcanic ash that settled unevenly after the impact melt solidified. So it has a low eternal ridge that runs northeast to southwest across the floor. And ghost craters and rim bridges. Look for subtle rings and scallops intruding on Julius Caesar's circumference. Yeah, that could be in a carry-on film. So the formation is thought at a high energy impact punched into the ancient lunar highlands between the Proto-Mare Viporium and Mare Tranquility, and lava flooding basaltic lavas from the early lunar volcanism partly resurfaced the cavity, and it's left a relatively flat, low relief floor. And debris from the Imbrium basin slammed into Julius Caesar, and it scarred its walls and dusted its north half with dark, glassy ejecta. That's Julius Caesar for you. What if I can zoom in just a little bit more? Give me a second. Don't want to zoom in too much because it'll look... Ooh, it's quite loud. Try that. Kind of lost myself now, I've zoomed in too much. Ah, there we go. Okay, so that's Julius Caesar there. So let's follow these outlines that surround the Sea of Serenity and the Sea of Tranquility. We're looking at actually Mons Haemus. For anybody who speaks the language, you can correct my pronunciation. Mons Haemus. Let's just get some information on that, and that would be this area here, just northwest of the Julius Caesar crater. So it is a mountain range, and that's, remember, not only does the moon have seas, as we would call it, but there's plenty of mountain ranges on the lunar surface as well. It extends about 560 kilometers. On the lunar surface as well. It extends about 560 kilometers. And I'm just waiting on Mr. ChatGPT to give me some more information. So take a wee drink while you're waiting, folks. And maybe have a favourite part of the moon, something that really catches your interest, put it in the comments. We'll have a look at it. We don't mind looking anywhere on the lunar surface. We love the moon. It's good crack. My recent on Facebook, where is the actual landing spot? Unfortunately, I can't zoom in far enough for the Sea of Tranquility, but it is roughly there. There's plenty of online lunar maps where you'll be able to see, and say the Indian Lunar Orbiter certainly took pictures of it, and that's not too long ago. So you should be able to find some images online. So Apollo 11 is there, no matter what the Fruit Loops say. And of course they have left reflectors on the lunar surface, so there are people out there who shoot lasers to the moon for it to bounce back, and that would only be possible if you have something to reflect it off. So, ChatGPT, what's it come up with? Mount Haemus, the Serenity Rim. Okay, so this is a rugged southwestern wall of Mare Serenity. I can't say. Sea of Tranquility. And so think of it as the subtler twin of the towering Mount Haemus on the opposite northeast of the basin. So have a look at that. I'll just put up an image there that doesn't help me whatsoever. It's always good fun. Just going to move the image down a bit. There we go. my friends, is the Sea of Tranquility, and that is Mons Haemus. And again, if you speak Greek or Latin or whatever language it's in, and you want to correct me, please do. Every day is a learning day. So the length of this mountain range is 560 kilometers. And if you were here last night, ChatGPT liked to give things in comparison basically to London. It hasn't given me anything so far to compare to London. I'm quite disappointed. It has a peak height of 2.4 kilometers, which is low compared to the likes of the Pennines. And it's the uplifted crust mixed with later mare lavas and Imbrium ejecta, so the lava that came when the seas were forming, and what was spewing out, part of the Imbrium impact. Haemus Mons, that's what it's named for, the Buckland Mountains. And the name was first applied by Johannes Helvelius in 1647 and adopted by the IAU in 1935. Haemus peaks look fractured and partly blunted. Apparently, we're just going to work our way up this mountain range. Sorry, I'm just trying to adjust this. There we go. Trying to control the telescope remotely. Sometimes it works, sometimes it says no. So we'll follow this mountain range right round up to the top. And yeah, as you see, as you go further north, the actual elevation increases quite a bit. And there's a couple of craters as you pop along there. So let me see what this little crater is. So, as we take our little tour, our little walk along the mountain range, we're going to stop here at our first crater. And again, do you know your craters? Where are we? If we're just thrown in there, could you find your way home? I know the answer, and I'm just waiting for Mr. ChatGPT to give us a bit more information about it. Let's get a drink. Don't mind me. Continue what you're doing as long as you stay watching the channel, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, become a member, use super chat, super stickers, Superman, super dog, whatever. Support us in whatever way you can. That GDP seems very slow tonight. People must be giving it a hard time at the weekend. I think this crater is called Menelaus Menelaus. Hi Amy, glad that one of our American friends, may the force be with you, and with you also. So we're just taking a very casual walking tour around the moon. At the moment we're on the Sea of Serenity. We're on the mountain range Mons Haemus, and I could be totally mispronouncing that, so don't be repeating that to anybody. And you think that pronunciation is bad, before you just go, I'll tell you about another sea up there which I have no notion of being able to pronounce, and it sounds like I'm swearing, so hang in there, kids. I'm just checking Big Book to see if there's any further comments there. All my little Big Book friends, they're all very quiet. And that's the problem when you're having 6 or 7 screens open at once. Trying to find anything, and then it all freezes and says no. Great. Is that Alabata Flog? It is great, thank you very much. So we're looking at Menelaus crater, and I could be totally mispronouncing that again. Yeah, so we've got it. So Menelaus is a small but striking lunar impact crater. It's perched on the southern edge of Mare Serenitatis, Sea of Serenity, right where the dark Bessel Sea laps against the rugged Mons Haemus. Its high albedo interior and distinctive ray system makes it one of the easiest 30-kilometer class craters to pick up. So there we go, and that's it there, and it is actually quite bright. So I'm just going to move things over a bit, so we make it a bit easier to find. So we're looking right here. That is where we've got on our journey across the mountains of the mountains of the moon, and that's 30 kilometers in diameter, that little crater there. See, crater and crater, if you're from Northern Ireland, which you may have guessed that I am from, we talk about craters, it means creatures. Look at that poor crater there, usually referring to a human who are in some sort of distress, that poor crater. So whenever I say crater, it sounds like I'm saying crater, but it is about a crater on the moon. And unless you're from Northern Ireland, you probably won't get any of that. So anyway, Mr. ChatGDP, let's see what you got. So it's actually 27 kilometers in diameter. Don't know why I said 30. And you should be able to see it with 7x50 binoculars. Depth of 3 kilometers. Terraced inner walls and a summit block. Central peak, which shows near nicely at 100 times magnification, if that's what your telescope's up to. I don't know what this is. I'm going to have to Google this. Colonitude. Mr. ChatGDP is saying that colonitude at sunrise is 344 degrees. What is colonitude? I've never come across that phrase in my life. Colonitude. I could look it up now, but I can't be bothered. So if you know what colonitude is, tell me. Geologic age. Apparently it's young. Bright rays and sharp relief mean there's little erosion since formation. At low sun, the upper terraces dazzle, while the lower slopes fall into shadow. That actually sounds like a nice place to go. The higher albedo comes from the evacuation of relatively fresh, unorthodox highland rock. My goodness. Central peak, it has a squat summit block that pokes above the smooth surface, catches shadows at sunrise and sunset. And we'll do one day. Like, obviously we're limited, even though the view I think we're getting here is quite nice from my back garden. There are online resources where you can actually view the images from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, which gives you obviously very high definition. We'll do a tour one night with that. So we're going to continue to move northwest along the Mount Haemus. Let's see where we get to. So let me see where we are here. I don't know if I can pick that one up. So I'm just looking. It's right about here. There's a couple of other small craters. See if I can find out what they are. Subplicus Gallus B. Now, unfortunately I can't pick it up in my scope, but right about there, there is a little crater. That's called Sculpius Gallus B, and it's just sitting nicely on top of a mountain range. Okay, I tried really hard not to gulp too loudly there, but I'm sure you heard it. So, Sculpius Gallus B, a tiny beacon on the flanks of Mons Haemus. Now it's only 6.4 kilometers across, and it is a useful indicator light for touring the southern rim of the Sea of Serenity. So 6 kilometers wide. Doesn't give me anything about depth. No, it's not, unfortunately. It is quite a relatively small crater as you pop along there. Let's see what we can see here on the screen. So this area here, from what I can see online, is known as Dorsum Buckland. We'll try and find out a bit more about Dorsum Buckland. Why is it called Dorsum Buckland? I've never heard of anybody going by the name of Dorsum Buckland. We have. And if you know what we're talking about, George, I'm not exactly sure what your problem is. It is the moon. What have we got wrong? What's your problem, George? Come on, George, what's your problem? Peaky boy, no, you can't actually see it because we don't have the detail here. However, because it's you, if you look here, it's roughly the area of where the Apollo 11 moon landing is. There's no way we have the ability to zoom in anywhere near that. The Indian lunar orbiter has taken photographs of the Apollo 11 landing site, so you it's very easily to find out online. And where we are at the moment, we are just heading going the wrong way. We are just heading up this part of the Sea of Serenity. This is called Mons Haemus. And we're just taking a little walk along there. With their spacesuits, of course. But you wouldn't last very long without it. If you have any questions about the moon, just ask. Because Mr. Google knows everything, and if he doesn't know it, his cousin ChatGPT does. And that's a great thing. We are not short of having all the information of the world basically at our fingertips now. There shouldn't be any question, logical question, that should be left unanswered. You're welcome, Picky Boy. I'm just waiting for Mr. ChatGPT to get back to us. So we're looking at Dorsum Buckland now. They are relate to this area here in the Sea of Serenity. I just want to know why it's called Dorsum Buckland. Who's Dorsum Buckland? There's an actual person called Dorsum Buckland it was named after. So Dorsum Buckland is Sea of Serenity's long wrinkled ridge. Long wrinkled ridge. Try saying that with a drinking you. Okay, I get it now. You can't see it, oh, but I can because I'm looking at a lunar map. Give me a second. I wonder if I can bring this in. Why not? Yeah. Okay, this is what I'm looking at here. So this is where we are on screen, and these are images from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. I really do have trouble saying words, and they have created a moon map, a very detailed moon map. In fact, so detailed, I'm going to show you how far we can get into this. Give me a second. So, just to show where we are, that is Dorsum Buckland, and on our little telescope, that is Dorsum Buckland there. Bit of a difference, but look, I'm operating with a 5-inch telescope here at the moment, so don't judge me too harshly. I still think the views are quite nice. So we'll go back to this. I'm just going to jump back to wherever it was. Here we go. Let's just zoom in to see Dorsum Buckland, and as you can see, look at these images. Yeah, should have been doing this from the start. I'm a silly boy, but so this is Dorsum Buckland, and this is on the south. We're heading up the southwestern side of the Sea of Serenity. So it's known as it's a long wrinkle ridge. So it's a broad, low folds created when hot lava shrank and the crust was squeezed. So billions of years ago, obviously, when whatever impact created this mare, the lava shrank as it cooled, and a large crust was squeezed, creating a ridge. It lies near the western half of the Sea of Serenity, almost on the lunar center line. It's one of the moon's longest single ridges. You can trace it for nearly 5 full moon diameters and medium power. So there you go, whatever that means, 5 full moon diameters. So does that mean it's, get it now, it would have the width of 5 full moons. Yeah, we can just say that. So low sun lighting is essential. Buckland, so it's named after geologist William Buckland. Buckland wrote the first full scientific account of a dinosaur fossil. Okay, not bad. I'm just adjusting my telescope. Okay, so that's the zoomed in view. And this is where we are on my little scope at the back. I'm gonna get a bit fuzzy at the moment, probably needs retuning, but that's the way outside. So we are here, and we're continuing to go up the western side of the Sea of Serenity. Let's see where we are. Let's see where we are. So this is the zoomed in map from lroc.asu.education, and these are images taken by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. Extremely high resolution stuff, brilliant. So, and we're looking at the Sea of Serenity here, and as we see, we were talking about Mons Haemus, this mountain range. It sweeps all the way up here to the western side of the Sea of Serenity. And there's this little area here, Dorsum Buckland, it looks like. I want to find out about. So Dorsum Buckland. Which in our scope I think is about there. So Dorsum Buckland, let's see what we can find out about that. So Dorsum Buckland. Another wrinkle ridge. It's a broad, low folds that formed when hot lava shrank. Yeah, a bit like the rest of the dorsum. Okay, it's not really telling us a lot new there. Okay, we'll go back to the beauty. What we'll do while we're here, we will stop off and take a little look at the craters that we see just inside of the Sea of Serenity. So we'll go for the zoomed in view. There we go. And there's a couple of small craters that I can't pick up. There. What is this big one? And it's Bessel. Oh, that's a nice image of it. Let's have a look at Bessel, shall we? And my screen's right there. So let's see if we can find anything about Bessel. So, Bessel is described as a neat little bowl in the middle of the Sea of Tranquility. Okay, it's almost central, just on the near side, and it's visible with every lunation, not illumination, lunation. It's 16 kilometers wide. It's the largest crater that is wholly inside the Sea of Serenity. Crisp outline that's easy resolvable in binoculars. And it's named after astronomer Frederick W. Bessel, and it was named in 1935 by the IAU. So it's thought, was it 1 billion years ago, is that what it's saying? And as you can see, just from it is nice, some rays coming from it. Basically that rays is the ejecta, the material that was thrown out at the moment of impact that have since cooled. Remember, this is a giant sea of lava, known as wrinkles and creases as the lava cooled. And this is where we are, with our little 130 millimeter telescope, just sitting and observing the wonderful view of the moon. So we'll continue on our little walk around the Sea of Serenity and see where we get to. So we're coming to another. This is still Mons Haemus, I take it. So Mons Haemus there, and we are looking at Mons Haemus on that side, but we're not going that way. We're going north. And as you can see, and it's actually cut off by the terminator line here. Just here where the terminator cuts off. On this side you have the Sea of Serenity. And on the night side, for want of a better word, is Mare Imbrium, which we just can't see at the moment, but we'll see it when we have a look here. Just that little gap separates the two, but we're continuing north. So we have Rima Hadley, Rima Fresnel, and Rima Thealistus. So we'll have a look at them. We'll look at a Rima Hadley. Let's have a look at that while we're here. Hello, music lover. Good to see you. Do you wish the moon wasn't entirely locked? Never really thought about it, to be honest. The moon, I suppose, is the moon. It's something we've always known, and yeah, I suppose it would be interesting to see the far side, not the dark side, because there's no such thing as the dark side, because the moon does rotate every month. When we have a new moon, the far side is illuminated. That bit is facing the sun, so we are actually looking at the dark side of the moon at the time of a new moon every month. Sorry. Okay, so we're looking at, what are we looking at? Oh yeah, Rima Hadley. Rima Hadley. So this is a sinuous rill, a collapsed lava tube volcanic channel, which meanders like a river, rather than running arrow straight as a tectonic rille. It's roughly 80 kilometers in length, which you can lay the English Channel narrowest point inside it. It's a depth of 1.2 kilometers, which is 300 to 370 meters deep, near the Apollo 15 site. So here's a better look of Rima Hadley, and the Apollo 15's landing site should be somewhere close to it. Just not exactly sure. But really that's a collapsed lava tube. So this happened about 3.3 billion years ago. Lava kept flowing beneath a cooling crust, and when the lava stopped, the roof of the lava tube sagged and then collapsed, leaving that trench. And of course smaller impacts and moonquakes widened the trench. From Apollo 15, Scott and Irwin, astronaut Scott and Irwin, found no lunar soil on the rim itself. Close-up photograph revealed 3 to 4 lava flows, each 10 millimeters thick. Okay, that's interesting. So on the flank of nearby Mons Hadley Delta, the astronauts collected the famous anorthosite sample that proved that the moon once had a global magma ocean. There you are, that's quite interesting. So at one point the moon's surface was completely magma. little diversion there as we continue our walk around the mountains that surround the Sea of Serenity. So we just passed Hadley Ryle. Just going to visit the Apollo 15 site. I'm not sure where. Okay, we'll move on anyway. So while we're passing this way, you have Rima Fresnel. We'll have a look at that while we're here. Rima Fresnel. Fresnel. Yes, India does seem amazing, but it's not on the moon. This is our little view again through our 5-inch telescope. And this is just looking up the side of the Sea of Serenity here, and the Sea of Tranquility there. The Sea of Crises is there. I'm not even going to get into this. I tried to say that last night. It is Mare Freckennacken Tillus. I really can't say it. Let me see if I get the pronunciation again. So it's Mare Fecunditatis. Yeah, if you can say that, good for you. Mare Fecunditatis. That's what that is. That's way down here. So if you can say that, good for you. Oh, we're losing focus for some reason. Could be atmospheric disturbance. Could be the blooming cat climbing over my telescope outside. Oh, maybe they could have knocked into it. Get the nudge seems to be settling now. So what we're hoping for is some information of Rima Fresnel. Let's see what the internet has for us. So according to the interweb, this is two parallel trench-like faults that were produced when the crust was stretched, almost dead center on the near side, blah blah blah. They run for around 70 to 90 kilometers long, extending northeast to southwest. Okay, we're going to continue our dander. So we've come to this little spot here, where on the right hand side is the Sea of Serenity, and on here on the left is the Mare Imbrium. Now at the moment, as you can see on our scope, the Terminator line almost runs straight down the middle there. Separating the two seas. So we're going to take a hop over and continue northwards. It looks like we're heading towards Mount Caucasus. Let's have a look at this. Did you know there's so many moons on the moon? So many mountain ranges. The telescope I'm using is a 5-inch Newtonian 100. Basically it's called a 130 PDS. Now that is not what we're doing the detailed viewing with. That's online digital photos taken by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. This is our little view of the moon here from the back garden. Well, it's quite nice. But given we're doing a little walking tour, it's probably handy if we get a bit more detail of where we're going, and that's why we're using the online data as well. We're not watching for anything particular, just here to find out a bit about the moon, have a little walk around, see what's happening. You're not going to find anything strange. There are no alien bases, no hidden bases, no military bases. There's nothing strange or startling on the moon. It's not hollow. No gateways to other dimensions. It's not an egg. It's just the moon. But that's interesting in and of its own right. Lots to learn. So we're looking at Mons Caucasus, and let's just see what data we can get up in this. And this is described as the rugged northern gatepost between Ibrium and the Sea of Serenity. It's near the lunar center line, and it's long enough to follow for 1/3 of the moon's diameter. Its peak height is 6 kilometers. And it's named for Earth Caucasus Mountains. There you go. And it was adopted by the IAU in 1935. So the peaks are blocks of Iberian Basin Rim bedrock that are tilted skywards. Now we're during the impact. The smooth dark bays that bite into the range are mere bustles that overtopped lower saddles. And as you can see, there's its own little impact crater there. There's Calippus. Let's see if we can find out about Calippus. So Calippus. Let's see what we can find about Calippus. We're here on the final stretch of the mountain range around the Sea of Serenity. And we're looking at this little crater, Calippus. Let's see what we can find out about it. So it's not so little, it's 34 kilometers wide. It has a depth of 2.7 kilometers. It's almost on the lunar center line. On the eastern slope of Mount Caucasus, as we know, and it's named after the Greek astronomer Calippus of Cyzicus, 4th century before Christ. So it's sharp edge but bulges towards the west-northeast. The rim was distorted by slumping and uneven wall collapse soon after its impact. A broad step, halfway down, it catches the shadow as it creeps across the floor. Rock gave way along the concentric faults as the walls were oversteepened. It says in a very low sun, you will notice a faint halo of ejecta beyond the rim. The ejecta slumping, the remnants that were ejected out during the blast of impact. And lava from the Sea of Serenity creeped up into the southeastern flank of this crater. Okay, great show. So we're moving on. We're heading towards the north. We're almost there. Hang in there, folks. For tonight's journey, anyway. So we'll go back to the detailed view and zoom out a bit. So once we get past Calippus, you have Alexander. That looks very interesting. Let's have a look. And if you know any facts about what we're talking about, just throw them in the comments. We love to hear. We want to learn. We want to know what's going on. And thanks for joining us, by the way, tonight. And we'll do some more of these. And of course we're not tied to good weather any as well, because we'll just use the virtual moon and continue to explore the moon together. If you have any particular area you have interest, let us know. we are here at the moment. We're going to have a look at Alexander. Just here. This is described as a ghost walled crater between Imbrium and the Sea of Serenity. It's almost on the center line, so it's in view every lunation. It has a diameter of 95 kilometers, so quite big, as wide as the English Channel. But it is very shallow, 0.4 kilometers deep. And most of the original cavity is buried under lava, which came from the Sea of Mare Ibrium and the Sea of Serenity. So it's described as a broken rim bone. Only the northwest, west and south walls stand more than a few hundred meters high. And the east side is open to the nearby Mare. Basically billions of years of impacts and lava flooding have eroded half of the rim. Surviving wall segments outline a rough four-sided enclosure, and a lot of those sections have slumped. It has a darker western half and a lighter and rougher eastern half. The western floor smooth, basalt from the Sea of Serenity, and the older eastern half is Hammockery, Highland debris. There you go, Hammockery. There's a new word, Hammockery. Around sunrise, a shaft of light sometimes cut across the floor through a low notch in the south wall, and it's known as the Alexander light ray. Once a month, as when the sun hits it, if you catch it right, it's meant to act like a natural pinhole, letting dawn through for 1 hour. Okay, well look, I think we'll pause that tonight. It was quite interesting. Obviously lots of the moon to discover in future tours of the moon. We can go anywhere. Certainly well, we can literally go anywhere because thanks to the technology, we're not bound by what we can see with our own little telescopes. I do love my little Newtonian scope. But without a doubt, the detail you can get online is something else. And say this is the images from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, all put into a 3D globe, and you can zoom in literally anywhere. But I think we'll probably use this quite a bit. And we will continue to do our lunar exploration. So what I wanted to show you is this. This is the one I have great difficulty in saying. I'll zoom out because the word's better. Mare facunditatis. Sounds like a swear word. Mare facunditatis. How would you pronounce that? Mare facunditatis. So, put in the comments how you would actually say that. Do phonetically, Mare facunditatis. So it sounds very much like we would use when we're trying to say something bad here. So it's just after 11 o'clock here. It's getting late. We'll see. We'll do it tomorrow night. I don't think I've done anything exciting. It is a bank holiday here in the UK. So whoop-de-doo for us. We'll continue our tour of the Sea of Serenity. And we'll continue on from where we. So join us tomorrow night. These will only get better. Or worse, depending on how things go. But we'll see. Feel free to input during the comments. Let's hear from you. And I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully, or at some point. Ta-ta for now.